Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of For Checking TV. I'm your host, Doug Glacky, and tonight I'm joined by my co host, Scotty Porterfield. And tonight we have a special guest. We're bringing back our buddy, Gabe Tacuri, to talk about some Jersey stuff, talk about the Olympics as well. So, Gabe, how we doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We're just kind of hanging out. Obviously, we're still in that weird time before everything starts picking up with training camp. Obviously, the Penguins started their training camp today. There's really not too much to talk about with it, simply because Jeff Carter's the first line center right now, and we basically just pretend to exist until Sid gets back. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. The Vegas Golden Knights extended Nolan Patrick to a 2-year deal last night, $1.2 million cap hit. I really, really like that for them. I think that he's one of those guys who might have, it's not even a career rejuvenation. He might be able to successfully kickstart his career there. I know Philly wasn't really a good time for him, just at least from a playing perspective and with all the injuries and the migraine issues. So hopefully he's able to rebound and get his act together, because I think as it sits right now, he's probably going to slot in as their second line center and they're just going to run with him there.
Yeah,
But
that could be a potential thing that they end up doing with them. Like you said, though, that deal is really good because it's kind of like a low risk, high reward type of thing. If he
mhm.
does end up finding his game in Vegas, it could end up working out really well for them. And so I guess in a sense, it's almost like a bridge deal in a way, just hoping
Yeah.
that, hey, if everything's up coming together the way it does, we could have a potential top six center here, or not top six center, top six forward for us. But yeah, that could be a very good thing for Vegas. So we'll see how it plays out, and hopefully Nolan Patrick does develop into the player that everyone's been hoping that he's been for some time.
Yeah. And the nice thing about the cost certainty aspect of it is, um, if he's not playing well, you can put him on a third or a fourth line. It's still socially acceptable for him to be down there because he's a $1.2 million cap hit. Like nobody's going to throw a fit about it. So, um, Islanders news: they signed Zdeno Chara. Chara's coming home. That was a very interesting little news dump I wasn't expecting to read the other morning. But good for him. Good for Lou Lamoriello for assembling probably the most elderly geriatric playoff team you can assemble. But that was good stuff. That was real good stuff. I don't really know what his role is going to be, but at least he's still playing. Um, could be worse. He could be like Krejci and kind of just like up and go on the Bruins.
I
So
think he could fit in as a second line defenseman. I think he might have to with Mayfield. That position's open since Letty left, and I mean I don't know how much they expect out of him at his current age, but I think he could slot in there if necessary.
honestly, though, I think the idea of a Chara and Mayfield pairing is nasty. They play the same exact style, and they're both very difficult to play against. And I think that that's like, I mean, it fits the Islanders' identity so well. Like they're just going to go in there and just grind the opposition down and make it hard for them to generate scoring chances. So
Just look at some of the names that are on this Islander team now. You got Chara, Parise, Palmieri, Corey Schneider's still there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Long Island's kind of turning into a retirement home at this point. But and I saw something else. It was like Chara was like when Chara was in his first stint with the Islanders, like before their like Barzell wasn't born yet, or
Yeah.
who else was I forget who else was a part of that. But a lot of like their young and up and coming players, the ones that are left at least, are still are still weren't even born yet at that time. Whenever Chara was just getting started with the Islanders the first time around. So yeah, good for him. Another year to get a pension, I guess, in the NHL. So, good for him, I guess. So we'll see how it works out in Long Island, but we'll see how things play out.
I think I'm getting to a point with Chara where I'm just genuinely curious to see how much longer he can play. Um, because it's not like he can still keep up. Like he may not be fantastic, but like Gabe said, you throw him in on a second or third pairing and he's going to do perfectly fine. It's not really anything for anybody to really get like super worked up about if he were to sign with your team. But I'm genuinely curious to see how much longer he can go, at least at the NHL level, because he's what, like 42 now?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it's crazy that he's still kicking and still doing his thing. But I mean, dude, if you can keep cashing out money like that, just on 1 year deals, just do it. I mean, look at Chris Chelios. He made himself an absurd amount of money in the last 10 years of his career because he was playing until he was like 50. So
Yeah. Thresher's legend right there.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Honestly, though, I forgot about that until recently because I was watching some videos. We had do you know who Urinating Tree is, Gabe?
Yep. Love
We had
his
him
videos.
on a couple weeks ago, and I watched the Thrashers one, and then I forgot that they basically signed him for a publicity stunt. And I was like, oh god, this is hilarious. But
Played games.
yeah, what's up?
He played like a significant amount of games too. I thought I had to look up just to see what it was, but he definitely got it. He definitely got some action. It wasn't just like how Mike Madonna was whenever he was in Detroit, where it was just like Mike Milbury was just there to screw him over. Like he actually played in some games, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he played a good stretch.
He had 7 games with Atlanta at age 48.
That's great.
It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's like I'm so mad, like in hindsight, I'm so mad that Chelios never took an opportunity to sign with the Danbury Trashers. Because that would have been just like the icing on the cake for just like the whole like old man gimmick thing. But
so he was in he was in like his early 40s whenever that team was going on. When you think about it. He was like still like 42, 43 whenever they were like, active, I guess. So
also, I was today years old when I learned that Mike Rupp played for that team during the lockout.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I was looking that up one day. In class. Like I was just screwing around. I was like, okay, who actually played on this team? I saw Mike Rupp was one of them. Nasty Morasti was another one that was on that team, and so was Gretzky's brother,
Brent Gretzky. Yeah, yeah. My roommate from college texted me the other night or last night whenever your tweet went up about the Danbury Trashers jerseys, Gabe, and he said to me, he's like, I need a Mike Rupp Danbury jersey like more than I need air to breathe. And I was like, I think I might. I said to him, I think I'm between that or Morasti.
Yeah.
Just because like Morasti's like a spit and chicklets legend at this point. It's like, why not? But moving forward, some jersey news. The Arizona Coyotes finally went back to the white Kachina. It looks absolutely fantastic. And there's an outside shot they end up getting one in the near future. But yeah, they look great, man. I wasn't like in the back of my mind, I was thinking, okay, we might get Kachina, but then I was like, I don't know like how it's gonna go. So what are your thoughts on that, Gabe?
I mean, it came out months ago. I knew months ago that they were bringing it back. I was extremely happy. I mean, it was what they had to do. They had the black ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like their old homes, the burgundy ones. I don't think they were bad. I think they were actually probably underrated, but the aways were nothing special. I think now the ones that came out today, they look great. I mean, from back in the era, they all look both styles of jersey, even their alternates, the green peyote ones. I love those.
Yep.
All of those. That era of Coyotes jerseys are absolutely insane.
All that just for them to relocate next year. Yep. That logo looked great in Houston, right? It'll be the Houston Coyotes, right?
I mean, the Quebec Coyotes isn't far off because the Nordique logo before they moved was going to be a wolf.
That's true. That is true.
I think we're on to something here. But anyways, a couple teams getting new alternates. When do you think we can expect news on this Penguins third jersey that we keep hearing about?
I heard November. So I'm not sure if they're going to release beforehand and then do something like Seattle where the people who distribute them besides Seattle and Adidas will get them like weeks later. So maybe they'll come out in October, and then the person who I talked to will get them in November. But we'll see. I'm just about positive that you guys are going to get an alternate.
Is there a reason why they're holding off until like the early stages of the season in order to do that, or like what's the rhyme or reason? Because like I think if you want a new alternate, you'd want to have it out before the season started. That way you just get the jersey revenue and whatnot. But what's the reason for like them holding off?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I'm not sure. Washington did something similar last season with their blue alternates. But from what I've heard, I know the Devils are also getting an alternate. I'm not sure why they haven't released theirs either. I guess maybe they're trying to release them at once or somewhere closer to the season. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. I think the Penguins did something similar where they didn't release that ugly gold third that they had for several years until like right around October, early November-ish. Because I remember that dropping when I was at college, and my friends and I all trying to like get our funds in order to make it happen, get a new one. But yeah, I took great advantage of the Penguins trying to liquidate their third jerseys. Like I got an absurd amount of them. But anyways, moving forward, we're going to talk about some potential Olympic rosters. I want to start off with Team Sweden because they're going to be loaded. They look like they're going to be a wagon, and I really don't feel like talking about how bleak the Russian national team is going to be this year whenever the time rolls around. So this team's stacked. Literally all four lines. They have just incredible talent. So for context of how stacked this team's going to be, I have Elias Pettersson playing third line left wing. So yeah, I'm just going to go through like basically what I have like kicked around on this notes document in my phone right now. The forward lines would go as follows. It would be Landeskog, Eriksson Ek, and William Nylander. Philip Forsberg, Nick Backstrom, and Elias Lindholm. Elias Pettersson, Mika Zibanejad, Victor Arvidsson, and then your fourth line is Andre Burakovsky, William Karlsson, and Patrick Hornquist. Your extra skaters would be Ricard Raquel and Niels Hoglander. And on defense, you would have Victor Hedman and John Klingberg, Jonas Brodin and Eric Carlson, and then OEL and Matthias Ekholm. Your extra defensemen would be Rasmus Dahlin and Rasmus Anderson. And in goal, you have Robin Leonard, Linus Olmark, and for controversy's sake and for fun's sake, Jesper Wallstedt's your third goalie. Yeah, honest to God, like someone needs fired if Sweden doesn't medal in this tournament.
Eriksson, first line center. What's the reasoning behind that one?
I think that he's way better than what he's hyped up to be. He's a great defensive two-way center, and I think that this tournament would be a great opportunity for him to show off his skills. Obviously, he can be switched out for any of the four centers that they have. I think switching him and Zibanejad would probably make the most sense, but I don't know, man. I think giving Joel Eriksson a run in the top six would be ideal for the Swedes.
I don't know. I like that's a really bold move, putting him above Elias Pettersson and Zibanejad or a Nicholas Backstrom. I think that's like I don't even have him making my Swedish team at all. So, I mean, to put him on the first line, I mean it's a very bold move, Dougie. I'll give you that.
It's hey man, we learned last week nothing's as bold as Brian Russ playing fourth line for Team USA.
True. You guys are ready to die on that hill.
Yeah, and Jake Gensel's going to play top line too.
Right, that's the other one.
But in hindsight, I was thinking about it deeper as like my week progressed after we recorded that episode. The idea of Kyle Connor and Jake Gensel on the wing with Dylan Larkin just sounds nasty. So give me that.
Yeah.
Let one of the Kachuk children play up with Matthews and just kill people for him.
Yeah.
Give me that.
And yeah, let's hope that it's Dylan Larkin and not Joe Pavelski or TJ Oshie or somebody like that. We'll have to wait and see.
Just kidding. It's going to be Luke Glendening.
Right. All right. So for my team Sweden, I got Landeskog with Pedersen and Nylander on line 1. I have Philip Forsberg with Zibanejad and Arvidsson. Line 3, I got Burakovsky, Backstrom, and Elias Lindholm. In my 4th line, I got William Karlsson, Michael Backlund, and Ricard Raquel. And my extra forwards are Victor Olofsson and Emil Bemstrom is the other guy I got in there. Young guy. He's still only, 22, 23. So
yeah, I
feel like and those guys are interchangeable. There's some, and like you said, Dougie, Sweden could be as a team that could be very deep. You have guys like Jakob Silverberg, Carl Soderberg, Kalle Jarnkrok, like you said, Patrick Hornquist, Andreas Johnson, Gus Nyquist, and Anton Lander, just to name a few. So those guys are all players that could even, give those guys a run for their money. So for the defense, I got Victor Hedman and Erik Karlsson, OEL and John Klingberg. I have Rasmus Dahlin and Matthias Ekholm. And my spares will be Hampus Lindholm and Rasmus Anderson. And for the goaltending situation, I'm kind of stuck on this one. This one's a tough one because I like Leonard there, but I also like Jacob Markstrom there.
True.
And, Linus Ullmark can have the 3rd spot. That's his. So, I mean, those are that's where I'm standing right now for those guys. What are we thinking?
I think Sweden's extremely flexible in terms of wingers and centers, especially on their forward depth. If you have Pedersen on your 3rd line, you're in a great spot. Even their defense is stacked, and like you had Ullmark as your 3rd goalie. I think he could even be the top goalie. Depends on a whole bunch of factors, but I think he's extremely underrated. He played for Buffalo. I mean, how good can you expect him to be? But yeah, I think Sweden's in a great spot.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm how you said between Leonard and Markstrom, I'm in the same boat with Leonard and Ullmark because I really believe that Linus Ullmark's going to go into Boston this year and be insane. Like this is the hottest take in the world you're going to hear from me, but I think that there's a chance that he gets in the Vezina conversation. That's how good he could potentially be this year. He put up great numbers on some horrific Buffalo teams, and that shouldn't stand for nothing. I think that he's one of these potential god tier goaltenders that you kind of just unlock in a new situation. And Boston really kind of got away with highway robbery being able to sign him, because you guys know the whole summer I was on the whole unload Tristan Jarry, somehow sign Linus Ullmark train, because I was that sure about it. Same way it goes for obviously different nationality, but same way goes for Freddie Anderson in Carolina. If Freddie Anderson's able to stay healthy, I think the sky's the limit for him, because that defense in Carolina is going to be really good. And it's a situation where he doesn't really have a whole lot of pressure. I mean, you guys know Carolina is such an easygoing organization, it seems. And I think that's something that he needs after being, in Toronto for as long as he was, because, I swear, playing in Toronto, I feel is very similar to having the presidency, where it's just it ages you so much because you're dealing with so much excess crap. You're dealing with media, you're dealing with fans. You can't even go out without someone telling you suck. I think that Freddie needs that change of scenery, and plus his backup goalie, or his tandem mate, if you will, is going to be Antti Ranta. That's a really sick goaltending duo, and that's unreal business for a team that was getting shit on for trading Alex Nedeljkovic right before the draft.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And like you were saying about how Toronto wears guys down, I just want, if you ever have free time, for anyone watch this, if you have free time, look at Austin Matthews' draft picture and look at him giving an interview at NHL Media Day. It looks rough. It looks kind of
Yeah.
rough. Not gonna lie. So,
Nylander looks rough.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're not groomed right now. I don't know what the deal is.
And I mean,
but-
Marner still looks like a small child, but I feel like his psyche has deteriorated so much since his contract negotiations that, I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, I think Team Sweden's going to be a wagon. I think both Sweden and Finland both are going to be loaded because, obviously we're not going to talk a whole lot about Finland, but like I think out loud about the Finnish team, and like, their fourth line can be loaded. Like I was looking at one, they had Jesperi Kotkaniemi centering the fourth line. But I think that if Kotkaniemi is going to play with Aho and Teravainen to start the year, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the line that you see at the Olympics, because they're going to have chemistry. You don't really have to tamper with anything. You just got to put those three together, and you're going to get results of some sort out of them. And, honestly, man, like Finland's going to be loaded. But I think one of the more interesting, like, prominent countries in this Olympic tournament is going to be Russia, because a couple years ago, I mean, they won the whole thing. They were unbelievable, but now it feels like it's not for a sure thing that they'll even medal, because if Evgeny Malkin's injured, we have no idea how long he's going to be out for, or if he's even going to go to the Olympic Games at all. And Evgeny Kuznetsov is still serving that 4-year ban from the IHF play for the cocaine incident. So, now I'm gonna name my lineup off here. Mine is if Malkin plays. So your top line would be Ovechkin, Malkin, and Radulov. I like that because they've all been playing together since like the beginning of time. They all have chemistry together. I think it would work. And then your second line is Andrei Svechnikov and Nikita Kucherov being centered by Vegas Golden Knights legend Vadim Sipachov. I think that, like, honestly, like, he's going to be one of the few KHL guys that makes this team, because they just need centers. They really need centers. They don't have there aren't a whole lot of Russian-born centers for a reason. They all play wing because they like to score the goals and not really be super committed on defense. And then your third line, Panarin, Datsuk, Kirill Kaprizov. They are going to have to pull Pavel Datsuk out of the woodwork. I know he's currently a free agent in the KHL. I don't know if he even plans on playing again, but they're going to have to pull him out there because they need centers. And then your fourth line is Pavel Buchnevich, Vladislav Nemestikov, and Vladimir Tarasenko. Your extra forwards would be Denis Gurianov and Mikhail Grigorenko. On defense, now, if you think Joel Eriksson being the top line center of Team Sweden's bad, this is about to get a whole hell of a lot worse. The top pairing is Ivan Provorov and Artem Zub.
Yep.
Second pair is Mikhail Sergachev and Dmitry Orlov. And then the third pair is Alexander Romanov and Slava Voinov. Your extras would be Vladislav Gavrikov and Nikita Zadorov. And in goal, you have Andrei Vasilevsky, Ilya Sorokin, and Igor Shesterkin.
Voinov. I haven't heard that name in forever. I forgot he still played.
Dude, I honestly see no way that they don't bring him.
Oh yeah.
Was he ever banned from the IIHF? Was he ever?
I did a Google deep dive today. They never did anything.
Wow.
He actually, dude, he won the defenseman of the tournament in 2018.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went there, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I thought of Voinov being on the team. I still don't know if I would, given like how talented some of these Russian defensemen are. But I can understand where you're coming from in that sense. You really think they're going to drag Pavel Datsyuk onto the third line on Team Russia?
Yeah. Dude, they don't have centers. They have nothing, because before I thought about pulling Datsuk out of the woodwork, your bottom six center depth was going to be Vlad Nemesnikov and Mikhail Grigorenko. And your two extra skaters were going to be wingers.
Yeah. I think maybe it's just me, but I think they can get away with that. I really do. I don't think that they need to drag out 43 or 44-year-old whenever the Olympics roll around, have 44-year-old Pavel Datsyuk on there. It's not like it's the Czech Republic where, okay, we don't have anyone else, so we'll just have Yager come on. Like, it's like Russia's a good team without
That's
Pavel.
true.
So I understand. I mean, I kind of get it, but at the same time, I feel like they have better options at center as opposed to him. Like, I'll give you guys mine now since, we're on the topic anyway. So I have Ovi with Gino and Kucherov. I have Panarin with Shipachyov and Svechnikov. I got Dalabil Kirill with Nemesnikov and Tarasenko. And I got Pavel Buchnevich with Grigorenko and Nichushkin. And my extra forwards are, Guryanov and Evgeny Dadonov. I think people are kind of sleeping on Dadonov. He's had a pretty decent run there the last couple of years. I think he's got a shot at making the team, honestly. So on the back end, I got Provorov with Nikita Zaitsev, Mikhail Sergachev and Artem Zub, Dmitry Orlov and Gavrikov. The extras there are Nestorov and Nikita Zadorov. And then I have Vasilevsky with the boys on Long Island, Semyon Varlamov and Ilya Sorokin as the two backups.
I think they're interesting. They're interesting back in goaltending. I think they have a ton of options. Even Samsonov might not even make the roster, and he had a decent rookie year. Last year he struggled, but even Bobrovsky, or it depends. Like, they have tons of options. They could go with Varlamov and Sorokin, one of the two, and Shesterkin, and Vasilevsky's a lock.
Yeah, for sure.
Or they could just galaxy brain it and bring Askarov. And honestly, like, I think that, like, even if they did choose to bring Askarov, I don't think it's that crazy. Like, he's one of the best goalies in the KHL right now, right? He's lights out. So I don't know. I think that that's something that could potentially go down. But yeah, this is an interesting little team. Again, I have no idea how well they're gonna do, but regardless, they're gonna be fun to watch. They're gonna score a whole hell of a lot of goals. I'm gonna look at Finland right now, because at forward they are just unbelievable. Like, holy hell, they're loaded. So your top line, what's up?
What do you think about on Team Russia? You don't think Kovalchuk has a shot? I know they're loaded on wing, but I think Kovalchuk. I know he's old, but
that's the reason why he's
the
not
heart of it.
Kind of the same boat as Datsuk. It's like, okay, we
Sure.
don't 40-something-year-old and we have younger, better options.
I thought about it. Like, I couldn't think of a logical way to put him in.
Fair enough.
Because again, he's a little bit older. I mean, they could potentially bring him on as an extra just to have him around because of how important he's been to, like, their net international play over the past several years. I mean, and he's one of those people, like, when he gets into, like, an Olympic play or like a world championship type deal, like, he brings it. Like, the whole thing, it just completely flips and he's just a monster. I mean, he was so important to that run for them in 2018. Like, he was unreal. So I don't know. It's possible. It's very possible, but at the same time, I could also get the argument of it being a little tough to bring him along just because of where he's at in his career, And plus, over the past 8 years since the last Olympics the NHL went to, the talent at forward for the Russian players has gotten so much better. Like there's been a lot more guys
Definitely.
coming over from the KHL because like you guys would even see it from like even as early as or even as like recent as like whenever Sid and Gino got drafted, there would be those guys that get drafted out of the Russian Super League that have unreal potential and they never came over, you know? So yeah, that's the big thing that they were able to, get some of these guys over into America. Another guy that might is obviously not going to make the Russian national team, but it's probably going to be a big part of their future is Vasily Podkolzin. He put up unreal KHL numbers, and he's going to be a huge part of the Canucks top 9 this year after he signed that ELC. I'm excited to see what he can do at the NHL level. And, last week we were talking about guys to go on USA or Canada that are going to be a big part of like the 2026 roster. And like Vasily Podkolzin is going to be a massive part of that top 9 for Russia in 2026, whenever the time rolls around. So, but yeah, Finland is interesting. Obviously, we're not going to talk super deep into it, but like the top line would be Line, Barkov, and Rantanen. And then my second line, I'm running the Finns from Carolina. It's going to be Kotkaniemi, Aho, and Teuvo Teravainen. Your third line would be Capo Caco, Mikael Granlund, and Yoel Armia. And then your fourth line would be Jonas Donskoy, Eric Haula, and Kasperi Kapanen. And your extras would be Pulja Jarvi and Arturi Lehkonen. That looks pretty damn good on paper, at least for a forward group, And then on D, you're going to have Miro Heiskanen, and I'd say I'd put Heiskanen with Henri Jokiharju. And then your second pair is going to be Mikko Lehtinen and Rasmus Ristolainen. Obviously, we know Mikko Lehtinen is the guy that the Leafs brought over from Russia after he won KHL Defenseman of the Year for Jokerit the year before. Didn't really work out for him, but ended up getting traded to Columbus. And then your third pair would be Esa Lindell and Oli Mata, and your extra would be Sami Vatanen. And then in goal, you're going to have UC Saros, Antti Ranta, and Jonas Korpisalo. I don't think that Tuukka is going to be ready, but regardless, it's a pretty good team.
Definitely, for sure. What was your third line again? Tell me that one.
My third line was Kako, Granlund, and Joel Armia.
I mean,
would
consider switching Armia and Kapanen.
I was about to say that, yeah. Because Donskoy, Haula, and Armia sounds like a really good, like, raw fourth line.
Yes.
Like that's the big thing that I've been trying to like think about with these teams is like how to make a really good grindy fourth line with the players that you have at your disposal. Hence why you guys screamed at me for taking Brock Nelson and Brian Rust to the Olympics last week. But, what are your thoughts on that, Gabe? Brock Nelson is the fourth line center for USA.
I could see it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they have other options besides Nelson, but I'd love to see him on Team USA. I think he brings a grit and he could score. So I think he'd be a good fit on the USA team.
Yeah, and I think, like it's either going to be him or JT Miller potentially. I know regardless, they're probably going to take Jack Hughes with them because like at least as an extra skater, because dude, like even though he's not like fully established in the NHL yet. He's such a big part of USA hockey. And I think it would be difficult to leave him off the roster, especially if you end up taking Quinn. Now my question for you is this. Jacob Chikrin has dual citizenship for both USA and Canada.
Ooh.
And I think the way you lay out Canada's defense, he doesn't make the cut. What would you think of that if he came over and played for USA?
I think he'd have a big impact on the team.
Yeah.
How good is Canada's third defensive pair that you don't think he'll make it? I think Chitrin's really, really good.
Let me look into the notes document.
Okay.
My third pair for
Yeah.
Canada was Morgan Riley and Dougie Hamilton.
Okay. Yeah, that's understandable why he wouldn't make it.
Yeah. And then like Ekblad would be the extra or would be the 7th D that goes in, you know? And I really like, dude, I know it's crazy, but I really think they're going to take Bowen Byram with him just so he gets that experience, you know, because your top 4 for Canada is so concrete. It's Theodore Makar and Shabbat Pietrangelo. Like any of those 4, just pair them however the hell you want to pair them, you know? So yeah. And I think, you know, if he comes with them, if he makes Team USA or comes over and plays for Team USA, he's immediately a top 4D. Chikrin.
Yeah,
he
I
might
agree
even
with
be
that.
top pair. You know, because I think that he'd probably be a better fit with John Carlson than Werenski. You know, I think
and that's where we kind of disagree on, you know, is like I think Chikrin's good enough to make the top 4 for Canada. I think he'd be a better option than a Dougie Hamilton. I think you could play him with like a Cale Makar and get away with that. You know, it's not a bad thing to have Dougie Hamilton on your third pairing with like an Adam Pellich or somebody like that. I think Chikrin's better than both of those guys. I think he's better than a Darnell Nurse. I think he's better than Mackenzie Weegar. Definitely better than Aaron Ekblad, in my opinion. I think he could easily crack into Canada's top 4.
can we go as far as saying he's better than Morgan Riley, or is it too early yet?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Morgan Riley's not making Team Canada, in my opinion.
Yeah, my only issue is like I feel like some of these guys that I named might make it because of Leaf bias, but then again, like we're pulling like these rosters or like these potential combinations and making them into our own out of just like articles we read from like Canadian news outlets. So of course Mitch Marner's going to be on the roster, and of course Morgan Riley's going to be in the defensive group, you know, like it's just pretty much how it goes. But yeah, man, I think I'm really looking forward to the Olympics. Like I said to you guys, I think I'm going to take PTO from work and just watch hockey, do podcasts. I think, you know, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see Sid with McDavid. I'm excited to see Sid with McKinnon. Like there's so many guys over the past 8 years that I'm just so excited to see play in international play that we haven't had a chance to see yet because of the NHL not going in 2018, you know, like, I mean, obviously we're all excited for USA. I mean, this is the best chance in our entire life of them winning a medal, or at least winning a gold medal per se. Because the goaltending's so deep, the forward group's deep, the defense looks phenomenal. You know, so now Gabe, I want to know your opinion on this.
Okay.
Who's your third goalie for the Americans? Spencer Knight or Thatcher Demko?
Probably Demko.
Okay.
I can see it going either way. It's a tough decision.
Dude, it's literally a coin flip. Like it is. It's a tough one to come up with. And then like I'm looking at a Czech Republic roster right now that looks really good too. Like obviously I'm not going to read the whole thing off, but like the team's so loaded that their fourth line consists of Hedel, Pavel Zacha, and Andre Kasher. Like it's just crazy. Their defense is going to be horrible though, but at least they'll have a decent forward group. But yeah. Anything else you guys want to cover? Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Can't wait till 2 more weeks when we actually talk about real hockey. Not to
Dude, I
have
know.
to throw Olympic rosters together.
Dude, I know. Like literally, and like I said this to my dad. He said to me, he's like, "What's up with the Olympic stuff?" I'm like, you need to find gap fillers.
Yeah, we're at that
because
point. Just like,
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. We could talk about how Philip Hollander could potentially make, or I specifically could talk about how Philip Hollander could potentially make the Penguins' third line or their bottom six in some capacity until my eyes bleed. It's just I don't think people want to hear that.
How about that guy though? Talk about setting your nuts on the table, pretty much. Like, yeah, what a bold move.
I know. I love it though. And honest to God, dude, I think he does it. Gabe, do you have any idea what we're talking about?
No.
So Philip Hollander went into the Penguins development camp and said, "I'm here to take an NHL roster spot."
Great. I remember reading that.
Legendary quote.
Okay.
Dude, it's legendary. And let me just say, gentlemen, if he makes the opening night roster as the third line center, it continues the great tradition of every player we've traded Jordan Staal for being the third line center.
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
Because you got to think, Jordan Staal became Brandon Sutter. Brandon Sutter became Nick Bonino. We turned that goalie prospect we drafted with the pick from the Bonino trade into Derek Brassard. Then we turned Derek Brassard into Nick Bukestad and Jared McCann. They both played third line center. And now here we are trading Jared McCann for Philip Hollander.
I never realized that. Now that you mentioned it, I never realized that connection was all the way.
This is why it's nice to have a friend and a co-host who's just literally just a fucking crazy person. The fact that I rattled that off perfectly is insane.
Yeah.
And then like
you practice that one in the mirror time or two.
What'd you say?
Practice that one in the mirror time or two.
Yeah. And then, James Neal, or like it's the James Neal trade tree. Literally every single guy turned into a top six winger that was supposed to play with Sid, but could not play with Sid. Neal turned into Hornquist. Hornquist turned into Kessel. Kessel turned into Jason Zucker. And now here we are with people shouting into the void on Twitter about how Jason Zucker's worthless. That's just how it goes.
It is.
All right, guys, for real though. Anything else?
I think we've touched them all, man.
I think we did pretty good. Gabe, you got anything coming up? Like anything interesting jersey wise we should know about? Like if you want to drop a bomb right now, drop a bomb.
I haven't heard anything that I haven't tweeted about. Anything that I hear, it'll be on Twitter. I promise you
good
that.
Deal. All right, guys. Well, this has been another episode of Forechecking TV. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Forechecking TV. Subscribe to us on YouTube and find us wherever you get your podcasts from. All right, guys. Thank you and good night.